Hello, my name is Gwyneth Rees. I am the Bailiff of St David's and a member of chapter board for St John Cymru, Wales. I've been in St John for a number of years. I'm not going to tell you how many. I joined as a cadet, Commandment Division in the Cynon, what is now Mid Glamorgan, and was then the Upper Cynon Valley Corps. And as a cadet, I went to the division regularly, and one of the main things that we did was enter first aid competitions. And I can remember travelling around all the South Wales valleys to places like Seven Sisters, Trelewis, Treharris, Estrogynlais, where we competed. We were quite good. Never won the Wales finals, but we were runners-up on a number of occasions. I stayed in the division all my school years, and then left to go to university, came back, and I took over that division as officer in charge. And I ran the division for a number of years as a cadet division. I then moved on to become training officer for the Cynon Valley, and at the time, the Health and Safety Executive, I believe they were called then, were beginning to be much more efficient and thorough in the teaching of first aid. And there was a new booklet introduced that people had to do if they wanted to do first aid in industry. So, as I was a trained teacher, I worked with a number of the members of St John, doctors. Dr. Don Thomas was one, Dr. Brian Price, I believe, helped out as well. And we developed a teaching package for the training of trainers. That was really quite interesting. So I did a terrific amount of work on weekends, arranging courses to train trainers in the way in delivering first aid. And there are quite a number of people that I did actually teach. The present Commissioner for Mid Glamorgan, Angie O'Sullivan, was one of my pupils. So that was quite an interesting period, and I worked for headquarters at the time. Following my time as training officer, I became area commander, I think my title was, for the Cynon Valley, and was in charge of that region. And during that time, I had quite a number of interesting things. We opened a new ambulance hall in Aberdeen. The Duchess of Gloucester came to open the ambulance hall. And I think prior to that occasion, there was a party in Hyde Park celebrating the 100th anniversary of St John in Britain. And I can remember that we took a display of miners' lamps, and I was in charge of the display of miners' lamps, and therefore I was going to show the Duchess and explain what the miners' lamps were. They were very interesting. Unfortunately, I left my uniform hanging behind the bathroom door. And luckily, we had started as nursing members, or females, wearing black trousers and white polo shirts. We were allowed so, and of course, black sweaters. And a friend of mine had a spare black sweater. The fact that he was about 3 stone lighter than me was a minor problem, so I spent the day in Hyde Park, rather compact, because I was wearing a sweater that was about 4 sizes too small. Then I left the uniformed side and became a member of St John Council for the Glamorgan Valleys, and I was secretary of the St John Council. Then I became chairman of St John Council. I joined Priory Chapter Board, and following my friend Miss Rona Price, I then became Hospitaller. And subsequently, Bailiff of St David, and that's my position now. I wanted to be a first aider. I joined as a first aider, although obviously St John is far more than that. But it's really interesting that the minute people know that you are a first aider, a St John first aider, then they turn to you for help. And I think that that's always been something I've always been able to help. people still ask me for, you know, oh, you're a first aider, can you do this, can you do that? And I think it's really important. I think we're taken for granted, very much so. I think that people just sort of accept that we are there when we're needed. I taught for years, for many years, and I like working with young people. And it's always nice to see how they've come on and done very well, because they, I think in many instances, because they belong to St John. And people still approach me and say, oh, I was one of your cadets. And that's nice. So